would you say the biggest issue homeowners should look out for when getting a home inspection done? Like, what's going to have the biggest impact on the fact that whether they should either buy this house or maybe walk away from the deal?
And making sure there's no problems with any signs of moisture coming in through the basement or the crawl space and things like that.
You probably have a checklist, I'm assuming, as you're doing your inspections to go through every aspect of that house to make sure that...
Yeah, so my checklist is up here now after 18 years.
Yeah. Do you ever have any homeowners call you to just have a home inspection done in their house because maybe they're thinking about selling it and they want to prepare it for sale? Does that ever happen?
Yeah, it's a really smart thing to do, actually.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the roofing industry, because I mean, that's a new industry that when you're doing these home inspections, I mean, obviously the roof comes up a lot, I would imagine, right? So
yeah, it's part of our inspection. We're checking out the roof.
Are you getting on every roof to do like...
But yeah, no, it's definitely a good idea with the roofing. You got to...
When you're doing your inspections on the roof, are you checking ventilation?
Good ventilation is going to help the roof last longer.
What about the areas? I mean, you cover all Jersey inspection, right?
Yeah.
So is it literally all New Jersey, or do you go out of the state? All right, what's going on, Joe? Welcome to Jersey Home Pro Podcast, man. How you doing?
Good, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you on, Joe. Yeah, we've known each other for, quite some time now, right?
Yeah, it must be 15, 20 years or so.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So, I really want to get you on the show here because you got a great reputation online. I know you do a lot of work in the area, and just want to kind of get your story out there and, hear about, how you kind of got into this, and, tell the audience kind of who you are, where you're from, how you got into doing home inspections here.
All right. Yeah, I'm Joe Arnold. I'm from South Plainfield, New Jersey. And I got into inspection about 17 years ago. It's actually going into my 18th year now.
Wow.
I was doing different jobs growing up, and I did a little bit of college, didn't actually finish. And I said, let me just try to find something where I could start making money right away, And at that time, I was working construction. I was doing oil tank removal.
Yep.
And I had a Class A CDL. So I was driving a truck for Pepsi back in the day. I bought a house and I had a home inspection done. And I said, this is pretty interesting process and everything. I said, let me learn more about this. So right away, I kind of just jumped into it, went to school for it. Took about a few months to get the schooling done. And then as soon as I was done with the schooling, I just jumped right in. Very little experience, just the schooling, and that was it. And I got my first job, barely knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
And but I made it work. I put the time in. A couple of years in, it was going kind of slow, but thought about getting out of it. And then I said, you know what, I got to really make an extra push at this, And thank goodness that I did, because it really worked out. Right now I have a couple inspectors that work for me. We're doing quite a bit of work. I'm expanding now, and I'm looking to bring on a few more guys, actually.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So that's a long time, 17, 18 years to be doing one thing. You become an expert,
Yeah, for sure.
You do so many inspections. I know you do a lot of the inspections on your own as well, too, right? You're still doing inspections as well?
Yeah, I'm still out there doing it.
Okay.
Which right now I'm trying to take myself out of doing the inspections every day so I can work on the business instead of in the business. Yep. So I'm out there every day doing inspections, and it takes a while, You're on the inspection for 2.5, 3 hours. And then there's a report to write that takes another couple hours. So it's a long process. I'm driving there, driving back, and there's a lot of office work and things like that needs to get done. But it's okay. I mean, I love the business. I love being out there. Just I want to work on higher level stuff. But it's definitely a great business. I love being part of the the real estate transaction.
Yep.
So it's an important thing that we're doing, and we're helping people. And I get to be a part of that process every day, so it's rewarding.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Now, you hit on a little bit, but before you got into home inspections, you were working for an oil tank company, right? So you were doing tank removal. So I think that's very unique on your perspective from what I've seen in the home inspection, business, because I was in the tank business for so long and now the roofing business. You see a lot of these home inspectors when they go out they say they can do these tank searches, right? So let's talk about this, because I feel like this is an epidemic in the home inspection, because they say they can do all these extra services, but these guys don't have any quote unquote tank experience, right? So I think that sets you apart, because if they miss a tank, I mean, it could be catastrophic for the homeowner, right? Paying for that cleanup if it's leaking or something.
Liability,
it's a huge liability. So the fact that you had that experience pulling oil tanks, I think that definitely sets you apart. So can you hit on that a little bit about your experience with tanks?
Yeah, that was one good thing that came out of doing the tank removal. I had that experience, and so I would know, where the tanks were located and things like that, where to look for them with the metal detector. And so it's definitely a good background to have when you're out there doing tank sweeps every day. And, there's guys out there that are just out there using a metal detector. So they'll go out and they'll locate things that really aren't the right size to be an actual oil tank. It's just metal debris. So I can kind of decipher between, hey, it's just debris or it's actually a tank. Yeah, with my experience.
That comes from experience. I mean, you could only, because I did so many tank sweeps in my day. I mean, you could only tell from experience whether is that a buried piece of metal or is that an oil tank? And you kind of have to make that call on site. And for guys who are inexperienced and they're worried, because it could be a liability for them, they're just calling everything an oil tank.
Right.
And that's what we would, get the calls all the time. And now the deals are starting to get a little wonky because it might fall apart because they think there's an oil tank. Meanwhile, it's a buried piece of 55-gallon drum lid or something like that.
Right. Because you guys were actually out doing the digs and stuff, exploratory digs for those, right?
Yeah.
So you probably dealt with that a lot.
Yeah, we would get the calls all the time. I'm like, who did the tank sweep? Oh, the home inspector. I'm like, oh, man. I'm like, if it wasn't Joe, I'm like, this is a problem. I'm like, so, and you guys also have not only the metal detector, you have the GPR unit as well to do the scans.
Yeah, we use GPR, ground penetrating radar. This way, if we locate something with a metal detector, we can figure out exactly how deep it is, the exact dimensions, which is helpful for the removal guy, but it also will give us a more definite answer on what we located,
Yeah.
So, but also, there's, aside from just metal oil tanks, there's also fiberglass tanks out there. So with the GPR, we'll pick up on even a fiberglass tank. It'll pick those things up too.
Yeah.
So now we're doing mostly GPR tank sweeps. That's really the best way to do it now.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. You were able to give a good quality investigation, and that's all encompassing with your home inspection. I know so there's other services. It's not just home inspections, right? Because you not only home inspection, you did the tank sweeps, but what other services are you offering right now?
Right now, well, in regards to the tank sweep, before we move on from that, the other good thing about GPR I just want to mention is when you work in Jersey City and Newark and stuff like that, and you have the sidewalks with metal reinforcement, there's guys that are going out with metal detectors.
No, that's not going to work.
And it's alarming everything, and you're getting a lot of interference from the rebar and things like that. With GPR, we can see through the rebar down beyond that to see if there's tanks underneath. So I don't know how these guys are doing it. I think maybe they just get a gut feeling, hey, I don't think there's anything here, or whatever. They're writing reports. I'm not sure what's happening. We found them where other guys have said there's nothing there. We found it with GPR. So important for people to know that are thinking about buying a house and have to do a sweep. This is important stuff.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, the tank sweep is in New Jersey, it's so important, right? Because there's so many houses that people lived there for 20, 30 years have no clue there was an oil tank there. I had it all the time. They're like, what? That was in my backyard the whole time?
They go, hey, there's nothing here, because they're not aware of it.
Correct. They have no clue, and they've been living with it, and now it's just rotting in the ground, and most likely it's leaking into the ground. So we ran into that all the time. Yeah. But you have to do a proper tank sweep, and it's got to come with some kind of guarantee or insurance, which I'm assuming you guys carry the proper insurance. God forbid you miss an oil tank, right? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we have something called pollution liability coverage. It's extra on top of our regular insurances for the home inspection. And so, if we miss something, we're covered for it. It's probably not going to happen, but if it ever did, we're definitely covered for it with insurance. So we guarantee our sweeps.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Sure. No, that's super important.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about, not only the other services, but what is some of the things that you come across when you're doing these home inspections? I mean, I know you inspect some really old homes, but what would you say the biggest issue homeowners should look out for when getting a home inspection done? What's going to have the biggest impact on the fact that whether they should either buy this house or maybe walk away from the deal?
I would say the number one thing is water or moisture issues, right? So whether it's coming from the roof or the foundation, if you have moisture coming in, it's going to cause rot to the structure. It's going to cause mold and things like that. So moisture is number one, making sure we're checking out the roof properly from the outside, from the inside in the attic. And then when it comes to the basement, making sure there's no problems with any signs of moisture coming in through the basement or the crawl space and things like that. Or even plumbing, right? Plumbing leaks and things like that causes major issues. So I think water is probably the number one issue. And then after that is probably electrical issues. There's always a miswired outlet or an open electrical junction.
Minor stuff. Yeah.
Minor stuff like that here and there. And sometimes more important, where there's moisture maybe getting into a main panel. There's a lot of structural issues and things too, a lot of cracked foundations and cracked rafters and things like that. So pretty wide array of issues, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, you guys are obviously going through, you probably have a checklist, I'm assuming, as you're doing your inspections to go through every aspect of that house to make sure that if there are any of these major issues, you're going to be able to highlight them, and let them know what's going on and then obviously giving a report with that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so my checklist is up here now after 18 years. But my newer guys are using a checklist.
Yeah.
And we're checking the heating, cooling, plumbing, electrical, structure. We're taking our time going through the whole thing. We're checking everything out. And not only that, we're showing the client everything that we find. We're giving them informational notes, basic stuff like, hey, this is where you shut off your water, your gas. This is how long your water heater might last, things to look out for, and things like that. So it's not always about just finding the problems. We're giving people maintenance tips and things like that too.
No, that's cool. Yeah. Do you ever have any homeowners call you to just have a home inspection done in their house because maybe they're thinking about selling it and they want to prepare it for sale? Does that ever happen?
Yeah. It's a really smart thing to do, actually. We get those. I probably do maybe 20 or 30 of those a year or so. So that's called a pre-listing inspection. So we'll go out and we can do like a walk and talk pre-listing inspection, whereas you just walk together and I'll point things out. Hey, take care of that. You got some termites coming in over here, or whatever it might be. And then we can also put together a report and just like a home inspection report and give them something written too. Yeah,
which I think is super smart from a seller's perspective because you're going to be able to rectify those issues. Not, I don't want to say minimal cost, but on a timely fashion. You're not under pressure, right? Because when the deal is going to close in 60 days and you guys are doing your home inspection, now they're going to retrade the deal. They want to get discounts and they're getting quotes that are astronomical, and you're like under pressure, right? So as opposed to doing it ahead of time, you know what the issues are. You have time to fix it before the listing. You could get a couple quotes. It's going to be, absolutely think that's a smart move to do for sure before you list the house.
Yeah, 100%. Now you have like first-time buyers. They get spooked sometimes when we find things. You know?
They don't know. Yeah, they're scared.
It could be just say it's mold or something like that. You can remediate mold and make sure it doesn't come in. Maybe waterproofing and things like that. But they get freaked out sometimes, and they might move on to their next house in some cases.
Yeah, they kill the deal. Exactly.
Yeah. So definitely better to find out beforehand. And I don't know why more people don't do it.
Yep.
It's a really smart idea. I guess they don't want to lay the money out. They say it's unnecessary in their mind, but I think people should rethink it overall. Like there's some really smart people that are doing it, and they're getting ahead of the problems. And this way, they go to sell, and it's like a clean sale.
Yep.
Nothing's interrupting the deal as far as inspection issues.
Yeah, in the oil tank industry, we ran that all the time. I mean, I would tell my clients, like, listen, if you're thinking about selling this house, deal with the oil tank now, because once you get into a contract, you're going to call me, and now if we're under the pressure, there's all kinds of permits and inspections and reports to deal with the DEP. So do it ahead of time. I would always recommend that because, but everyone thinks like, I'll get away with it. Maybe they won't notice it's there, or maybe they won't bust my chops. They just buy the house anyways, which is typically not the case.
No. And if it leaks too, right?
Forget about it.
Yeah, it could take an extra few months.
Yep. Yeah.
What would they do in that case? They put money in escrow, or you can't really do that with that unless it's flat rate.
Not if you're getting a mortgage, because a lot of times the mortgage companies won't write. They're going to be like, wait, you have an open environmental issue? We're not going to give you a mortgage in this house. So it would have to get done before the closing. Then you get to what's called the NFA. Then they would close. Okay. So we would do deals where we would get paid at closing. We worked with a lot of transactions. 90% of the jobs we did were real estate related. But
gotcha.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the roofing industry, because I mean that's a new industry that obviously we're in now. So when you're doing these home inspections, I mean obviously the roof comes up a lot, I would imagine, right? So
it's part of our inspection. We're checking out the roof.
Are you getting on every roof to do, like, are you walking on a roof, or it depends
no, we use
on the
a drone.
You drone it,
Yeah, I use a drone. I can zoom in on certain things if I want to look closer and things like that. The drone technology is amazing.
Yep.
Even from the first one I had, 6-7 years ago, the ones nowadays are just like you can really zoom in and get really nice detail.
Yeah.
But I do walk a roof here and there too. If it's a single story, low pitch, I'll get up there and take a look around. I actually kind of prefer that, but in some cases, in a lot of cases, right, we got days where it's raining or snowing or windy, and you have roofs that are too steep.
Yep.
So a lot of cases we can't get up there. But when I can, I'll go and take a closer look. But the drone does a really good job, actually.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
And what are you seeing? I mean, typically in New Jersey, in this market, right? So an asphalt roof, I mean, and everything is different, right? So it depends on the ventilation, if it was done properly, but are you seeing 20 years, 25, 30 years? Typically, when are you recommending, or is it case specific when they should maybe do a replacement?
I would say a 3-tab composition shingle. They say they're rated for about 20 years.
Yeah.
You're going to start to have problems at 20 years. You can make a couple of repairs, maybe squeeze another 5 years out of it or something like that. So I would say 20, 25 years on a 3-tab composition shingle. And then the architectural shingle, like the timberline.
Yep.
I think they're rated for like 35 years.
Yep.
You know, and I think that's pretty true to the actual from what I see out there in the field. Again, you can let things extend a little further, make repairs, but then you're throwing money at a repair when that money should be going towards the replacement at that point.
Yep.
You know.
I think you're going to run into the same issue like we just talked about. I mean, you could, repair this thing. I just had a client this week, he was in Westfield, and he wanted to do a repair. He's selling the house in a year and a half. He's getting it ready for sale. I'm like, you're going to have mismatched, shingles on this house. Like the buyer's going to come in and ask for a new roof. Like there's no way around that. So, and he just didn't want to do it, which is fine. Some people they don't want to lay out the money, but I mean, obviously if you're putting a new roof on before the sale, there's ways to finance it. We offer financing, but it's also going to improve the value of your home. It's going to make the sale, the transaction go a lot smoother. You're not going to have to retrade and give a discount, right?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, you could even see it when you pull up to the house. I mean, even the untrained eye, you might not catch up on it, but part of the reason the house looks nice is because it has a new roof on it. You know, like does have helps the curb appeal too.
100%. Yeah. Makes a big difference.
But yeah, no, it's definitely a good idea with the roofing. You got to keep an eye on it. That's your, even if you have a house that's in really poor condition, you got to maintain that roof. Once the moisture gets in, it's so important to do that. And it's a great business. I'm glad you're getting into it because it's like, they don't last that long. It's 20 to 35 years. And so you're going to have that repeat business. It's great. I mean, unfortunately, it would be nice if someone came up with a shingle that lasted longer, but that's what you get out of them.
Well, exactly. I mean, unless you're going to go something crazy high end like a slate roof or a metal roof, but you're going to spend 3-4 times the amount of money to put that type. You're just not going to do that in a typical house. Right. But yeah, I mean, they warranty the material. Like GAF is who we're certified by. They warranty it up to 50 years, but they don't last that long. I mean, that's from what I'm seeing. It's like you said, 25, 30 years. You start to see that roof is going. They're getting leaks here and there. And that's where you're trying to plug the holes, but it's not really repairable, in my opinion, at that point. If it's got a 10-year-old roof and it's got a leak, we can come out there and we could do a repair on that, something like that. But when you're pushing 25, 30 years, you're talking about a new roofing system for sure.
Yeah, best to put money towards the replacement in that case.
Yeah. So when you're doing your inspections on the roof, are you checking ventilation and that type of stuff to make sure that the vents are properly vented? Like I just saw a house yesterday in Union. It was, I was thinking it was built in the 30s, and all they had was 2 side gables for ventilation. So they had no ventilation on the top, on the ridge, nothing coming in, by the eaves of the roof. So it was very under ventilated, in my opinion. So they have to upgrade that. I mean, that's stuff that you guys are checking out as well.
Yeah, that's part of what we look at from the attic and also from the outside. We're checking for ventilation. The newer houses have soffit vents, ridge vents, sometimes power vents, gable vents. They have it all. You have older houses that have, a perfectly sized soffit to put soffit venting in. It's just solid plywood, and this, I don't know why, just years ago they weren't thinking of that, I guess, So we recommend to upgrade the ventilation if we see solid soffits. The ridge vent is a nice upgrade too when you're redoing the roof. You're probably not going to do that unless you're actually putting a new roof on. And aside from that, right, I mean, like you said before, good ventilation is going to help the roof last longer. I don't think a lot of people realize that.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. You can think about it. If that roof is not ventilated properly, it's just that attic is baking those shingles, and they're asphalt shingles. Like they can only take so much heat. So you're cooking
expanding and then contracting at night and back and forth. And how many times can they do that before they start to crack and things like that?
Yeah, the ventilation is keeping it cooler. You got the the air is flowing through properly. It's very, very important. It is, in my opinion, the most important thing when you're putting a new roofing system on is to make sure the ventilation is proper.
Yeah, for sure.
The client I had yesterday in Union was like, well, I just want to keep it. It's been like this for 30 years. What's the difference? I'm like, well, listen, it's your choice, but I would recommend upgrading to a proper ridge vent.
Money well spent for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And now they have these new vents you could put on the eaves where it's basically under the shingle. It's under a shingle vent. I don't know if you've come across those yet. So those are like, they're nice. I mean, it's going to help the air flow from the bottom of the roof to the top, which is going to keep it cooler, which is going to help with the heating and air in the house.
Okay.
It's going to keep the house cooler. So yeah, that's definitely a recommendation if you're going to.
Oh yeah, the cooling will definitely work better. It has to work constantly. It'll run twice as much with bad ventilation in the attic. And then your AC condensing unit is going to die sooner.
Correct. You're just straining
absolutely.
everything. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the other thing, I guess, when you guys are doing these inspections as well. I mean, so when I bought my house recently, I guess about 3 years ago now, everything looked good, but you don't know until you really get in there and you start running the systems, right? So when you're doing these inspections, is it hard to tell? Obviously, you're running it for 15, 20 minutes when you're doing the inspection, but can you hit on that a little bit about these different furnaces and the AC condensers? Because sometimes they look good, right? And you could contest that. Like, hey, that looks decent. It's been running for 15 minutes. It's good, right? But then when you get in the house, you start living there, it's like, boom, now things are starting to fall apart left and right.
Yeah, with HVAC, with everything really. Yeah, so we're there for a limited amount of time. We're there for just a couple hours. And so when it comes to like HVAC, I'll let it run for, a half hour or so. And what we're doing, we're checking temperatures, we're listening to it, looking for signs. I take off the furnace jacket or the cover, looking for signs of moisture, anything unusual on the inside. But yeah, we're only there for so long. And sometimes people do move in. And you have a few months from the time of the inspection to the time of closing, so things can change during that time period too. And a lot of times they do. Yep. Like, we'll tell them, hey, it's an older furnace, budget for replacement. They're not thinking it's going to go tomorrow, but it can. Same thing like with the water heater and things like that. So, but people understand that we're there for one day. We can only report on the condition of the house while we're there. It's like a snapshot in time. So yeah, when it comes to HVAC, we're checking that out. Plumbing. We want to run the plumbing for a long time, like manufactured shower pans or tile shower pans where they're put together by a tile guy. Those tend to leak a lot. Yeah,
they only have a certain lifespan. I mean, most of the stuff, you kind of could tell too by the year. Like, right? So you're looking at, are you seeing a lot of times a sticker when they install the unit and you're like, all right, this thing's 20 years old. This is, you're at its life, you're at the end of the lifespan of this thing.
Yeah, we tell people. We tell people, budget for replacement is what we'll tell them. But yeah, I mean, AC. But you'll be surprised. Every once in a while, we'll see an AC condensing unit. It's like 30 years old that's still out there. So we try to put it into perspective. Like, yes, it's beyond typical life. Like an air conditioner, as they say, is like 15 years. And it could be at 20. And the people are going, oh, my God. It's like going to go to, I go, you never know. It could go 30 years or whatever, But, just be aware that one day it's going to be a little bit on the expensive side,
Yeah.
The thing is now, like with furnaces, when you have a heating guy come into the house, they're kind of notorious. Like if it's beyond that life expectancy, they'll come up with some reasoning to replace the whole thing.
Yep.
And I think that brings the averages down of the lifespan too, because a lot of times it's not even necessary to replace them. It could be a repair, and they're telling you to replace the whole thing, and then they go and do the air conditioning too. Now you're at 10, 12,000 or whatever.
Yeah. So one of the main reasons why I wanted to put this network together of trusted, vetted contractors is exactly that point. And there's a lot of these private equity-backed companies that all they care about is the bottom line. So, and I've had them come to my own home where they come in, they want to one-claw close you in the house right away. They want to make sure both people are there making decisions so they could basically twist your arm to say yes. Yep. And they literally tried to do that with my AC unit. They were trying to tell me, I had to replace it. I have 2 units. It's a split, upstairs and downstairs. And they were giving me quotes. It was insane. It was like $40,000. It was some enormous amount of money. I was like, damn, this is just a lot of money. Like I have to really kind of do my homework on this.
Right.
I brought somebody else that I knew in. Guy came in. I've known him for a while. He looked at it. He's like, $600. He's like, this is what you need. Some kind of.
I'm not surprised.
He put something in there and it worked. And now I last 2 years into the system. So may it go the next year? It might. But hey, I got 2 years out of it, right?
Yeah.
So you never know. You gotta have a trusted contractors. That's the whole point.
And
of this
we're guys
network.
that are in construction.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Imagine like the average home buyer
they have no idea.
Homeowner.
Yep.
Happened to me twice with a plumbing system on a drain line. It was backed up. They wanted to replace the whole thing.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I told them get out. I go, get out of here. What are you talking about?
Yeah, they probably want $15,000 to run a new line or something.
Yeah, they want to dig up the whole front yard and everything. All you needed to do was send a snake through it. I mean, and they got me because they put out some deal where it's like, $50 will come out and check the drain for you, whatever,
But then they hit you with the sales pitch and they try to close you.
Yeah. And same thing with the boiler issue I had too. Last year, actually, they came out to repair my boiler. Oh, this is wrong and that's wrong. I'm going, it doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
So just like you, I called someone I knew and he came out and wound up being like $1,000. They wanted to sell me a whole new $8,000 system.
Yeah.
So people have to be careful.
No, you definitely have to be careful.
Yeah.
I mean, and listen, there are times where in situations like we spoke about before with with the roof. I mean, there's times when you can repair it. Absolutely. What I'm finding in the roofing industry, a lot of these roofing contractors, they don't offer repair work. They literally just don't even have any in-house people that can offer repairs. So what they do the same thing. They try to push you into a new roof. which a lot of times you need a new roof, right? But we have an in-house guy that does repairs. We offer the repairs. And if it's repairable, why not? You know, but if it's, like I said before, it's 25, 30 year roof, you know, it's like this. It's like a bucket that's leaking. You're going to plug this hole and water is going to start coming out over here, over here. And you're going to keep plugging this thing in, and it gets to a point where sometimes it doesn't make sense. But as a contractor, you got to be able to give all options, in my opinion. You know what I mean? That's how I always done it in my last business. That's how I'm doing in this business, is you got to give options and let the homeowner make a decision, you know? Hey, and let them know, be honest. Hey, if you do this repair, but there's no guarantee with it, you're going to spend whatever it is, $1,000, $3,000, whatever it is for the repair. Or we could go with a new roof. The roof is 30 years old, and we offer financing, and it's, you know, $300 a month or whatever the case may be. Yeah. Let them make the decision. So at the end of the day, you know, if they chose to go for that repair, that's great. But, you know, let them make the decision at the end of the day, and that's how I operate. And I don't like a lot of these big companies that come in there and they try to press you, and it's like that's the only thing you can do. Literally, they're telling me, they're like, "There's no way to repair this." I'm like, I just don't believe that. Like, there's got to be someone out there that can maybe get me a year. I'm like, that's all I want. Let's give me another year out of it. Yep. And that's exactly $600. Like, I'm on my second season with it.
Okay. Well, yeah, the roof is a great investment. I mean, you know, there's no doubt about it. And it's nice to hear that you do the repairs if people want to have that done, you know. So you're definitely going to get some work through my inspection business. You know, we come across it all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, even missing shingles. I mean, we do a roof tune-up where we just had this house in Westfield where we offer the guy the repairs, and we told him he'd come around. We'll just, all the loose shingles, you got nail pops, we'll nail everything down, we'll reseal everything. And we'd recommend that over, like, replacing the tiles for him, because I said because he had a very small leak coming in, very small. I'm like, this is a very slow leak. It's probably coming in through one nail somewhere. We'll, reseal everything. We'll nail everything down. And we gave him that option, and he's thinking about it. He's on the fence. I mean, he really needs a new roof, but I'm like, here, this is a Band-Aid. And that's basically how I explained to him. Like, this is a Band-Aid. There's no guarantees, but this should stop your leak. And, at least you don't have mismatched shingles. I wouldn't take it, because we were talking about ripping the whole valley apart and re-shingling. I'm like, no, let's try this first, because it's cheaper, and it should fix the issue, and it should get you to your closing table, which is a year and a half away.
Gotcha.
So give us the worst case scenario that you've come across in a home that's was either catastrophic or was just like it blew your mind. Like when you saw it, you're like, oh, like I can't believe that someone even lived like this, or I can't believe that, this house is, exactly, someone's even living in here or something,
Well, I mean, yeah, there's some disasters out there for sure, I mean, you get into like the inner city areas and stuff like that, and like Jersey City, and it gets pretty nasty. I mean, I've seen like rats and stuff like that, and people living in the basement, like underneath like piping, steam piping with asbestos insulation that's kind of falling apart, like above their bed and stuff like that.
They're sleeping.
Horrible situations, It's kind of sad to even see that, But so that's the nasty stuff. We see that too. We could work in, real horrible conditions one day, and next day we're in a mansion, you know what I mean? So it does vary. But, I mean, if you're a buyer, they don't care what the condition is sometimes. They're going to go in, it's an investment, they're going to fix things up or whatever. But yeah, I mean, we find things all the time, and, major structural issues. I've been in houses like on the second floor where, the flooring is off on a slope by like from one side of the house to the other by like a foot.
Wow.
And I'm going to the buyer, like, you feel that? Like, yeah, I'm not worried about it. I'm like, maybe you should be, like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Sometimes we have to, like, people fall in love with the house sometimes, and we just give them the information, but sometimes I have to stress the importance because, I mean, there's some cases where, if it's a contractor, that's one thing. He knows what to do. Other people, they're like, they don't know what they're getting into. We got to make sure they're aware of it.
Oh, of course. I mean, when I was renovating houses, I had bought a house in Montclair, older home, very old, and same issue with the floors. And we actually walked away from that deal. We wound up reselling it as is because it was such an undertaking because of the structural and just trying to fix those floors. Yeah. It just wasn't worth it. But, a lot of people don't realize when you're getting into that, I mean, it's a major, you could live like that, I guess, but like what's going on under there, it's important to figure that out, and to fix it, it's very expensive.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes it's hard to see. I did a job recently up north, and I went into the attic above the garage, and the framing wasn't right. It wasn't supported properly. And then I stepped back and I said, oh, this looks like an addition. So somebody did an addition, and I didn't find out about it. The people didn't buy the house. And then I did another job for them, and they told me they had an estimate of like $250,000 from what I found because things weren't done properly. There was no permits taken out. Basically, the whole section there had to be like rebuilt,
Yep.
So yeah, there's all kinds of stuff that we come across. And it's not unheard of where I go in and find like major issues, and people are living there and totally unaware of structural things and stuff like that.
This is one of the questions I like to ask because in every industry it's different, right? So, every industry has its good apples and bad apples, right? Yeah. You get that everywhere you go. There's no way to get around it. So we like to educate the homeowners and the listeners on what they should look out for when hiring a home inspector, right? Because I'm sure you have guys that their nightmare stories where maybe something happened and you heard about the stories because you're in the industry. So let's talk a little bit about that. What should homeowners look out for when hiring a home inspector and be careful of?
I would say, first off, you want to have someone that has experience, You don't want to get a guy, the first day out of school or something like that. So check on his experience, make sure he's licensed and insured, and, see what he does. I mean, we offer many different services. So we're doing the home inspection, termite, radon testing, sewer scopes, air quality testing, and more.
Yeah.
So, other guys, they're out there, they're part-time. They might not even do the radon test. You got to call someone else for that and things like that. So you got a lot of part-timers in the business. And, they're not going to have the experience that we have, and they're not going to have all the additional services either. You're going to wind up calling, 4 or 5 different companies. Yep. We do it all in one shot. But I think the main thing is it really comes down to the level of experience, maybe, check on his reviews and things like that, But yeah, there's guys out there, just like any other business. It doesn't matter what it is, if it's roofing or plumbing or whatever. There's guys out there that don't really know what they're doing. And the main risk is that they're going to miss something that's really important. And, we're out there and we're finding stuff every day. Could we miss something minor? Yeah, probably. But something major, we're not going to miss it.
Yeah. And what's your process? I mean, when you get a call from a client, obviously a lot of times they're in a real estate transaction. That's the majority of the clients you're dealing with. So what's your turnaround process when someone, from the time they call you to the time you're doing the inspection to the time they get that report?
It's kind of like a last minute thing, home inspection. So you made an offer on a house.
They have a window, right? 2 weeks, they have to get it done.
Yeah, like you have to come out of attorney review. That's like a 3 or 4 day period that you go into. And like the second you come out of attorney review, you want to start lining up your inspection.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't want to do it beforehand because a lot of times you don't make it out of attorney review. Things happen and things like that. So we have to wait till they're done with that time period. With the attorney review. Then they have like a 10-day period to get the inspections done. It's a last-minute setup, but we have plenty of time slots. And usually our schedule really doesn't fill up much beyond like a week, So from week to week, we don't really know what's coming up, but that's the way the business is kind of structured.
Yeah, short term, because they're calling you and they have that little window to get involved for sure. Yeah. So what other contractors, when you get involved with these home inspections, are you making recommendations to certain contractors, or are you just saying a certain service, like, hey, this water heater needs to be replaced or your roof needs to be replaced? Like, how are you working with those situations once your findings are complete?
Yeah, just like if you work with a realtor, they have to give you, like the realtors that recommend me, they have to give like 3 inspectors.
Yep.
We kind of do the same thing, right? So to avoid any kind of conflicts, right? So if there's a plumbing issue, I have a few guys I can get for plumbing. I have a few electricians, And then if I like one guy more, maybe I'll put his card on the top or whatever, say, hey, this is the guy that works at my house or whatever,
Yep.
So yeah, we definitely can make a recommendation, but we definitely would avoid trying to just give out one. Because you never know.
Yeah.
You don't want people to have issues and
of course
point the finger at you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, you got to make sure that whoever you're working with is going to do the right thing for sure.
Yeah.
What about the areas? You cover all. You're the company name, All Jersey Inspection, right? Yeah. So is it literally all New Jersey, or do you go out of the state?
I'm working on it. Yeah. I'm working on all the total state. Right now, we'll cover all of North Jersey and all of Central, maybe down to like Ocean County going south. Not too much beyond that.
Okay.
Maybe I'll find a guy down there and start offering it down there and advertising down there too. But yeah, we cover anywhere. I have myself and a couple guys, and they live in different areas. I have one guy who lives in Bayonne, another guy lives in Marlboro, and another guy coming on. It's out down in Mercer County, down by Princeton. Yeah, so he's going to cover that area. So we cover a pretty large area. It's just a guy in a truck. I can drive an hour, even an hour and a half, no problem.
Yeah.
Totally happy with that. So yeah, we cover a pretty big area, but just not like down by like Atlantic City and stuff.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah.
Well, I would imagine. As you're bringing these guys on, you got to make sure they're properly trained before you're letting them loose. You know what I mean? So that's a whole process to kind of grow the business, right?
Yeah. All my guys that I have right now never did inspection before they started working for me, so I train them to do it the way that I do it, and then this way I can replace myself with them.
Yeah.
So that's a little tough thing, getting the realtors used to them. So bring them with me on a job, and this way the realtor gets to meet them. We'll do that a few times, and I kind of ease them in. And then they're doing the job like in the same way, same procedure that I do, you know.
Yeah, which is important.
And talking to people the same way that I talk to them too, you know, because they're listening to me. They don't have any bad habits, no prior experience. So they're doing it just like I do it, you know. So I think that helps me a lot.
No, absolutely. And obviously they've gone through the licensing and all that stuff. They've gone through school, right? You can't just become a home inspector just like, you know, it's not like an application, right? It's a process you got to go through to get that license.
Every inspector out there has to be licensed. It's not like just the owner could be licensed and send out whoever, like an electrician. We're all licensed, you know, and my guys, they're all, you know, responsible guys and, you know, family guys and things like that. So people I can trust. Yeah.
It's ongoing training, right? You gotta consistently train, right? And do a certain amount of hours.
Yeah. Ongoing training. We have to do CEU credits, like 20 a year, which is actually a lot. Yeah. It's actually 40 every 2 years. We have to turn it in, you know, but that winds up being a lot. And as far as the training, it's on the job and it's with me too. If they ever have questions, I'm always there for them. You know, we do FaceTime a lot. Hey, what's this? And I can explain it to them if I need to. A couple of my guys been around for over 10 years. So they know what they're doing already, you know. Yeah. But the newer guys, you know, I give them a lot of extra training. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, well, listen, man, you got a ton of reviews on Google, right? You guys are pushing over 600 reviews now, I think, right?
Yeah, close to it. I think more like closer to 500, over 500.
Over 5, okay.
Yeah.
No, that's amazing. I mean, listen, your reputation is great. That's why we wanted to make you part of the network and put you in the directory and, you know, give you the spotlight here because, you know, you do amazing work. You've been doing it for a long time and, you know, you got a great reputation. So is there anything you'd like to add, you know, to the audience? It's homeowners basically, and maybe you want to let them know kind of how to contact you and just kind of.
Yeah, anybody could reach me. My email is joe@alljerseyhomeinspections.com. Anybody ever has any questions whatsoever, they can reach out anytime. Our website, alljerseyhinspection.com, a lot of info on there. But yeah, I mean, that's what we're all about, just trying to help people out so everybody's aware of what they're getting into with their largest investment, right? So any questions whatsoever, you can reach me anytime.
Awesome. And one last question. So you're from South Plainfield. Give me a restaurant recommendation. It could be anything. I mean, any type of restaurant.
I went to, last weekend, we went to Metuchen to Terso's, I believe it was called, Italian restaurant over there.
Yep, I've heard of it, yeah.
Yeah, very good. Very good stuff. I recommend it. And then we went out across the street to, there's a Mexican place there. I forget the name of it. But yeah, nice area to go to in Metuchen there and good restaurant at Terso's.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome, Joe. Well, I really appreciate you coming on. This has been great. And, you know, Joe will be in the directory. So if you go to teddyroofing.com/blackbook, he will be on there. You'll be able to catch this episode there and get all his contact information there as well. And yeah, thanks for coming on, Joe.
Thanks for having me, Teddy.
Awesome.